Welcome to MusicNT's How to Restring Guitars, the source episode. My name is Cherice. In front of me today I have an acoustic guitar, an electric guitar and a bass guitar, packs of new guitar strings, a set of wire clippers, some protective glasses, a cloth to wipe down instruments, a string winder and a clip-on tuner. Guitar and bass strings over time will start to sound bad, as they can rust if not wiped down after each play. They can snap or break. When playing an instrument, always make sure your hands are clean, especially after eating. Wiping down your strings is a great way to keep them clean and bright. Strings tend to get a dull sound over time. As they are metal, they can react to moisture or sweat. It's a good idea to change them when you notice the sound becoming dull. To get the best sound when playing live, change them before your performance, giving them enough time to settle. We are cutting guitar strings, so cover your eyes with protective glasses and be aware that the strings have sharp ends. Find a comfortable space to work. To start with, you'll need a clip-on tuner, new strings, wire cutters, a string winder, and your safety glasses. Guitar strings come in different sizes. Thinner strings sound brighter and are a bit easier to play, but they're also easier to break. Thicker strings will put more tension on your guitar's neck due to extra tension needed to tune them up. As you become familiar with your instrument and your particular music style, you'll find the right sizes or gauge strings for you. Some sets have coloured ball ends. Some come in paper sleeves with the name of the string on them. Let's have a look at the acoustic guitar. First, we take the strings off the guitar. Find something to secure the neck of your guitar, like these foam squares, place underneath the neck of the guitar. As you turn the tuning peg, you can feel the tension loosen for each string. On the left-hand side of the guitar head, turn the tuning peg towards the body to loosen the string. On the right-hand side of the guitar head, turn the tuning peg away from the guitar body to loosen the strings enough so they are easy to remove. I'm going to use a string winder for this side. Once all the strings are loose, we take them off the guitar one by one. We fully unwind the string from the tuning peg and use the string winder to remove each pin carefully. Be aware of the sharp ends of the strings. Once all the strings have been removed, give the guitar a clean and check for any damage. Let's restring the acoustic. First, place the ball end of the low E string through the correct bridge hole. Face the groove of the bridge pin towards the sound hole of the guitar and slide the pin into the hole together with the string. At the same time, pull the string with your other hand as you push the pin through the hole. This will lock it into place at the bridge end. Take the strings through the correct tuning peg and push it through the hole until it's loose above the fretboard. We're not going to tune the string just now, but make sure that it sits on the guitar correctly and is not slack. Check that the string is sitting on the right groove on the nut. As we wind the string up, it's important to keep it tight at all times between the peg and the nut. Keep 4 fingers worth of space between the string and the fretboard as you do this. We want the string to wind down on the tuning peg neatly, so first wind the access string underneath. Then the rest of the winds go over the top. Going over the top on the first winds locks the string in place and stops it from slipping out of tune. Once the string is set in place, just recheck that the bridge pin is sitting firmly. Put on your safety glasses and snip off the extra string. Continue the same method for A and D strings. Again, we are not going to tune the string just now, but make sure it sits on the guitar correctly and is not slack. Remember to keep the string tight at the tuning peg as you're winding them up. Once we have done this to all the strings, we can tune them up. Let's tune up the guitar with this clip-on tuner. If you want to learn more about tuning guitars, check out the Source episode on tuning. It's a good idea to stretch your strings after tuning if they have just been replaced. Repeat tuning and stretching until they settle. Pull them up from the fretboard, being careful not to pull them out. Let's have a look at the electric guitar. We're going to change the strings on a Fender Strat, a very common guitar. The strings are all steel for this guitar and are color-coded in the packet to let you know which string they are. We need to remove the old ones, so loosen them by turning the tuning pegs towards the pickups to make them slack, and then take them out of the tuning pegs. Take care when removing them from the pegs as they can be quite twisted and the ends are very sharp. Use a pair of wire cutters to snip off the twisted ends. This helps when we take our strings out through the bridge. Push the old strings out through the bridge. Look at the color of the ball as it comes out and remember what string goes where. Sometimes you may need to remove the back plate as the strings tend to get caught there. Remember, this is a good time to clean and check for damage. Take the thickest string, the low E string, and push it through the correct bridge hole. Turn over the guitar and pull it through. Now we do the same with the remaining strings. Insert the remaining guitar string being threaded through the back to the front. Once all 6 strings are in place, turn the guitar over and pull on each string so that the ball locks into the back of the bridge. We will start with the low E string. Take it over the saddle and over the nut. Check that the string is sitting in place and pass it through the tuning peg and pull it tight. Pass the string around the back of the tuning peg and under itself. This will help lock it in place and keep it in tune. Turn the tuning pegs to tighten the strings. Once we have done this to all the strings, we can tune them up. Notice when you pass the string over the nut, the D, G, B and high E strings pass under a small string tree. This helps maintain the string tension at the nut of the guitar. Now we can cut the extra strings. Be careful of the sharp ends. Remember to wear your safety glasses. Once done, we are ready to tune, and once tuned, give them a firm stretch, then retune until they settle. Let's look at the bass guitar. Bass guitar strings are very expensive. They last a long time, so we tend to keep the old strings. When you replace just one bass string, the new strings can sound brighter than the old strings. If you have an old set around, you can use an old string to replace the broken one. This will match the sound better. When replacing bass strings for a recording or an important show, we tend to replace all the strings. Put the bass guitar in a position where the neck is supported. Now let's use the tuning pegs to unwind all the strings. We unwind towards the bass guitar body to make them loose. Now that the strings are unwound, we can carefully push them through the bridge, making sure we don't scratch the bass. It's a good idea to keep them. Remember which string comes from which hole. Now all the strings are off, let's clean the bass neck and the body. Good time to check for damage too. Now let's have a look at the bass strings. The thickest is E, then A, then D, and the thinnest is G. First, let's work on the E string. We thread the string through the bridge. Be careful, the string may be sharp. Check that the string is sitting in the right groove on the nut and that we are winding onto the correct tuning peg. Now let's find our string length, making sure to keep enough length to wind onto the tuning peg with. You may need to cut the string if they are too long. Once we have the right string length, bend it 90 degrees to stop it unwinding. Careful of sharp ends. Once bent, we place the bent part of the string into the center of the tuning peg. Then wind up the tuning peg, away from the bass. Not too much, as we will tune it later, but keep it tight at the nut when winding. Do the same for the A string. It's a similar process for the D and G strings, though on some basses you will need to thread them underneath the string tree before you thread them into the tuning peg. When all the strings are replaced, tune the bass. You can stretch the strings and retune, normally only a few times until they settle. Remember, dispose all of your sharp bits carefully and keep your instrument in a case when not being used. So we've looked at replacing strings on an acoustic guitar, an electric guitar, and a bass guitar. And remember, clean strings last the longest. Enjoy!